boxing skills are sublime. No doubt he's pound for pound one of the best on the planet Earth. Crawford is the real deal.
Terence Crawford can't beat no Canelo Alvarez. I beg to differ. He gonna smash Canelo Alvarez, man. I'm telling y'all right now.
Honestly, like, as of right now, I think Bud to beat Canelo. It's not gonna switch. There's nothing that's gonna change what I feel.
Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman point out a critical weakness that might hurt Canelo against Terence Crawford. They insist Canelo is not as exceptional as people often claim. Meanwhile, Crawford shines as the best fighter of his generation, with his sharp boxing skills and smooth movement presenting challenges that Canelo struggles to handle. In their view, this flaw will eventually cause Canelo to be outmatched and lose decisively in the bout.
Get back in the ring with Terence Crawford. Not too soon. Maybe you take a year off and then come back and work your way to the 154, 160 division, and Terence Crawford be there and y'all want to meet again. That's cool. That's cool. But you don't need to be going back in the ring with him this December. I know that much.
Stephen A. Smith emphasizes that Canelo depends too much on power punches, thinking brute force alone can guarantee success. He explains this method does not work against Terence Crawford, who excels with technique, agility, and accuracy. According to Smith, it requires much more than strong punches to defeat a boxer like Crawford, and Canelo's obvious dependence on power will eventually collapse when facing Crawford's advanced ring intelligence.
You got a love for boxing.
Love
Who gonna
boxing.
win the fight, man? That's coming up, the biggest
Crawford.
fight in boxing.
Crawford.
Huh?
Crawford. I'm not hesitating. Crawford. I'm not even hesitating. Crawford.
You gonna stand on that all the way to September 13th?
I love Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo by decision. I can't see anybody knocking out Canelo Alvarez. But I do believe that if you can box and you can move, that you can beat Canelo. You can outpoint him.
That's right.
When I think about Canelo, one of the things that I don't like about Canelo is, despite his greatness, and a neck as wide as Broadway for crying out loud.
Right.
It's like almost every shot has to be a power shot.
It's a power shot, yeah.
That's not beating Crawford. I will confess, I think Gervonta Davis's trainer, Cal, I think he said this. He said Crawford could find himself in trouble if he decides to engage with Canelo, because Canelo is the naturally bigger, stroke fighter. And I don't care that Crawford's gotten bigger, and I don't care that Crawford's gonna go in there just as big as Canelo. Canelo is accustomed to fighting at the weight, and Crawford is not. And Canelo is a genius in this regard. You don't see him show up for fights not ready. He's always ready.
always prepared.
He's always ready.
Gotta give
He's
him that.
always prepared. So I think he's the slower fighter, though. And I think that Crawford is brilliant as a boxer. And I think that between switching to conventional and southpaw, using his jab and movement, I think that Crawford is going to outpoint Canelo because he's faster.
Max Kellerman's analysis highlights the difference between technique and power in the Canelo versus Crawford clash. He notes that Crawford's jab has become one of the sharpest tools in boxing, managing range and controlling tempo. On the other hand, Canelo's once reliable jab has faded, forcing him to lean more on strength and counter shots. Kellerman emphasizes that Crawford's accuracy, timing, and fight IQ could cancel out Canelo's size edge, showing that strategy and adaptability may eventually surpass brute force when the two fighters collide.
Crawford. Best defense. Crawford. Nowadays, Crawford. I would say early in the fight, Canelo. And earlier in his career, Canelo. But he hasn't been that kind of fighter in recent years. Although Crawford is also hittable. With any fighter, when you talk about their defense, the question is not, can they be hit with a shot? You take punches. Everyone, the greatest defensive fighters ever get hit. Pernell Whitaker, Willie Pep, Floyd Mayweather, they all get hit. The question is, can you hit them with combinations? And both guys are hard to hit. With the two-piece, hard to hit.
So who has the best footwork out of the two?
In terms of cutting off the ring, last fight notwithstanding, Canelo has gotten much better at cutting off the ring. But, you know, early in his career, he had a problem with that. and was much more comfortable counterpunching. But overall, I have to say Crawford. If you go down the list and ask me about tactical advantages, most of them are Crawford. What Canelo has is size, and as a result, physical strength and punching power. Canelo also has a great chin. But in terms of if you want to go skill for skill, especially the recent version of Canelo, who's had to turn into a seek and destroy guy, who had to learn as his career went on to cut off the ring and not just follow guys around. Like Lara, Trout, Floyd, he followed those guys around. He had trouble because he's really a natural counterpuncher who wants you to come to him.
Timothy Bradley Jr. makes a striking comparison between the criticism Muhammad Ali once endured and the doubts now aimed at Terence Crawford. He remembers how many thought Ali would never defeat George Foreman's power and size, yet Ali shocked the world using strategy, intelligence, and endurance. Bradley sees a similar storyline forming with Crawford, as skeptics argue he cannot defeat Canelo Alvarez due to the size difference. Still, Bradley insists true greatness is not defined by size, but by skill, determination, and preparation. He notes that Crawford has spent a full year training specifically for Canelo, proving his dedication to overcoming the odds just as Ali once did.
They said Ali couldn't beat George Foreman. Yep. They said that Jack Dempsey couldn't beat Jess Willard. Yeah. 6'6", Jess Willard, 250 plus pounds. Little old Jack Dempsey knocked him out. Yeah, they saying Terence Bud Crawford can't beat no Canelo Alvarez. I beg to differ. He gonna smash Canelo Alvarez, man. I'm telling y'all right now. He gonna smash Canelo Alvarez. It's not gonna even be a fair fight. I promise you that. It's not gonna be a fair fight. Because the minute he get acclimated to that punching power, it's gonna be over for Canelo Alvarez. Yeah, that wide swinging left hook, them big looping right hands. Oh, he can straighten that right hand. You don't think they're gonna be ready for that? Crawford and his team are the best in the business. Yeah, best in the business. Crawford has trained for this for an entire year. 1 year for one man. Thinking about him every day when he's out there grinding, watching video, studying film. Yeah, everybody talking about the weight. The weight, he too heavy. Tell, it was weight classes for a reason. And all of this crap. Man, you think people gonna, you think greatness is just built on just being comfortable? Greatness is built on being uncomfortable. Yeah, before we even landed on the moon, it was an idea, right? It was an idea. And then they brought it to life, and we landed on the moon. I know there's some conspiracy theories out there saying that we didn't land on the moon, but you know what the hell I'm talking about. You get it? Yeah, we talk about size. Like size is everything. What about skill? What about mentality?
Bernie, a veteran boxer, firmly rejects the notion that Crawford is too small for this showdown. He argues that Crawford's build and physical presence are often overlooked, yet his success in heavier divisions proves the opposite. Bernie underlines that Crawford is not just a smaller man moving up without caution. Rather, he is smart, strategic, and skilled at managing bigger foes. In his view, the key factor in this fight will not be sheer size, but the ability to think, adjust, and outsmart inside the ring. He stresses that Crawford and his camp take pride in being sharper than Canelo's corner, and this edge in preparation could swing the fight toward Crawford.
Crawford, you've seen him in the gym, but have you seen the best Crawford under the lights, you think?
When they say the best Crawford, I don't know. I like all Crawfords, how you do. You know, that's what makes him a dynamic champion. You know what I'm saying? The best Crawford is what it takes to win. You know what I mean? Now, some fights are more interested than others. As far as, like I say, the fight with Klimov was a kind of a slow fight. You know, and maybe the Madrimov was a slow fight. Benavidez was kind of a slow fight until he knocked him out. But he was doing a lot of great things in there. So, Buzz fights, they always exciting. You never know what's going to happen in those fights. So, the best Crawford he's always at his best.
PHX Patriot, thank you for the $2. Get the likes of BMB, best in the biz. Something when Bud walked Canelo down. No way he's too small. Fire. Let's go Crawford.
Exactly.
Yeah, a lot of people do say that. A lot of people are saying that they don't think that the walking down situation will happen because of the wrestling background, the grapplings, the tactics, you know, the balance and stuff like that. Stuff that Bud knows how to do because of his, you know, wrestling background. What would you say?
Man, I don't know nothing about no wrestling background. I mean, he did wrestle for a time, but he was not no national champion wrestler. He was not no real high school wrestler where he was wrestling all his years in high school. He wrestled. The man is just a freak of nature. He's an athlete. You understand? That's what it is. So his specialty is boxing. Okay, now he's strong as an ox. That's where his shit coming from. So they're not wrestling. It's not gonna be no fucking wrestling. Feel me? He's doing strength and conditioning training. He's strong as an ox, like we already know that. His hands is like baseball mitts.
Canelo Alvarez has entered this contest with humility and respect, admitting that Crawford is a serious danger despite being a naturally smaller man. In his own words, Canelo explains that at the highest level of boxing, weight becomes less of a deciding factor since elite fighters know how to adapt and compete across classes. His comments show he is not overlooking Crawford as an easy opponent. Instead, Canelo makes it clear he is training with complete focus, understanding that discipline and skill will matter as much as power and size. His professionalism reveals an awareness that Crawford's unusual style demands more than simply depending on his regular strengths. This mindset suggests fans may see both fighters performing at their very best.
Me, because Terence is a smaller guy, and why do I need to fight this guy? For you, what changed? Tell me about the moment where you're like, you know what? Maybe I'll do this. This sounds like a good idea.
If you're thinking about it, look how big turns this fight. It's a big fight. No, that's why it made me change. But you know, I've been in his situation before, jumping weight classes, and when you're a good fighter, that doesn't matter. So I'm not gonna focus on that. I'm gonna focus on training very hard because Crawford is a very good fighter.
Yeah, tell me about your experience with that, because now it's reversed. He's coming up in weight. What could be dangerous? What aren't we seeing that maybe you see in this fight?
No, everything. He's a good fighter. Obviously, I know that, and I need to be careful. I need to be careful in everything, so I see everything. And
Shocker Stevenson has voiced complete faith in Crawford's ability to beat Canelo. Drawing from direct experiences in training camps, Stevenson explains that Crawford has been sparring with opponents equal to or even larger than Canelo. In those sessions, Crawford has been in control. He points out that although Canelo's chin has long been praised as one of his greatest strengths, it won't matter if he is repeatedly caught with clean and precise punches. Stevenson insists that boxing at this stage is not only about taking shots, but about avoiding them altogether. And Crawford's sharp accuracy guarantees every strike has meaning. To him, this shows Crawford possesses the weapons to overcome both size and toughness.
Honestly, like, as of right now, I think Bud to beat Canelo. It's not gonna switch. There's nothing that's gonna change what I feel.
You've been feeling like that since day one. I think, but now nobody never thought about that fight like that, because when you were saying nobody was thinking about that fight because not
Yeah,
even
they thought I was
Crawford.
crazy.
Yeah,
They thought I was crazy.
I still think it's crazy though. For me, I still think it's crazy. But like you said, I'm not in the gym. I'm not in the gym.
Yes, you have to see him then. The people he spars, everybody that Bud Crawford spars is the same size as Canelo. Like all these guys that he's sparring is bigger guys. He don't even he do spar with people his size sometimes, and sometimes he get in with me. That's strictly for skill. That's strictly to keep his skills, his hand speed, the IQ level up. But the people that Bud Crawford spars is big ass dudes, and I'm watching what he can do in the ring and sparring. It's nothing that's gonna change come fight night. I hear y'all say that the 16s and the 8s is different. I agree, but y'all gotta realize Bud got on 8s too.
And the chin also. Alvarez got on them chins, man.
Bud got on 8 ounces too. And you can have all the chin in the world. I don't give a fuck who the fuck you is. If you get punched by the right motherfucker, you gonna feel that shit.
But That's the thing. He got punched by the right motherfuckers in Triple G and Kovalev.
And you don't know if Bud gonna crack him with a cleaner shot.
Legendary analyst Jim Lampley takes a more reserved approach, raising the concern that Crawford might be too small to deal with Canelo. Lampley praises Crawford's brilliance, but maintains that natural size and strength become major factors. At the top level, from his perspective, Canelo's background facing bigger fighters and his tested toughness could make the weight difference tough for Crawford to overcome. Though Lampley admires Crawford's ability, he presents the matchup as a steep climb, noting that no matter how sharp Crawford is, he will encounter serious physical hurdles against someone like Canelo. His outlook provides balance to the discussion, stressing the genuine risks in Crawford taking on this challenge.
The conversations, I'm sure Jim will be hearing them abound. What do you think about the fight now as you've witnessed Canelo Alvarez again in the masterclass performance?
I love Terence Crawford and I want him to have what he wants. But off of what I saw tonight and what I saw in Los Angeles last month when Crawford was fighting Madrimov, I am more than ever concerned that he's not big enough, and not big enough to be able to move around the ring and muscle Canelo in the way that you would have to ward off those really vicious inside power shots. I might have thought a few months ago that I would give Crawford a logical chance to win the fight. He is the most skilled pound-for-pound fighter in the world, but I just don't think he's big enough and strong enough to take on Canelo Alvarez at 168 pounds. And so far, Crawford is 154-pound fighter who's only been to 154 pounds once and didn't get a knockout. So, I just don't see it at this moment. I think there is a very obvious assignment out there for Canelo Alvarez, and it isn't Terence Crawford at this moment.
Crawford's choice to rise in weight and face Canelo highlights his remarkable ambition. Very few fighters dare to gamble with their legacy by fighting someone naturally larger. Yet Crawford welcomes the risk. His earlier jumps into higher divisions have proven his versatility, especially his showings at 154 pounds, where he demonstrated the ability to stay dominant even against bigger foes. At 168, the test is unquestionably tougher, but Crawford's mix of timing, movement, and pinpoint accuracy ensures he will not be simply outmuscled by size. His confidence in seeking a knockout of Canelo reflects his belief that skill and ring intelligence can ultimately cancel out physical disadvantage.
As a southpaw, but basically he can fight in both stances. Bud Crawford is taking his undefeated record, putting it on the line, daring to be great, to try and knock off Saul Canelo Alvarez from his throne and go and try to do something that no man has ever done, and that is to be a 3-division undisputed champion. That's a tall task. We know that Canelo Alvarez has fought fighters way bigger than Bud Crawford. It's actually one of the biggest talking points in this fight is the size. Canelo Alvarez has fought guys like Bivol. He's fought guys like Kovalev. He's fought guys like Billy Joe Saunders. He's fought really big fighters who are established at their weight classes all the way up to light heavyweight. And we know that Bud has come from a smaller weight class, being a champion all the way down at the 135-pound division into 140, 147. But as you can see in the tail of the tape, Bud is actually taller. Bud actually has a bigger reach. And quite frankly, he did most recently fight in the 154-pound division. And I don't think he will struggle to make weight to be at 168 and fight as a super middleweight. The question is, though, is bone structure. Who's going to carry that weight more effectively? We know that Canelo Alvarez has been in the weight longer, and as I mentioned, he's fought bigger guys.
Berlanga praises Crawford's courage while also giving practical guidance. He urges Crawford to stay true to the style and strategy that have defined his success in the ring. Berlanga insists that altering his approach to match Canelo's size would be a critical error. Instead, Crawford must rely on his advantages of timing, precision, and calm under pressure. He He also notes that moving up to weight classes helps balance the playing field in a way many observers overlook, making the matchup more even than assumed. That wraps up today's video, so keep watching, and until next time.
First of all, he got to go in there and he just got to fight him. You know what I'm saying? He got to go in there. I think Crawford just got to go in there and do what he got to do. You know what I'm saying? He got to just beat Crawford, you know, show his IQ, show him why he's a two-time undisputed, you know, world champion, and go in there with confidence. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is. You know, it's a big weight difference, a big weight jump. You know, that could be a difference in the fight. You know, because obviously, you know, it's like me jumping up to heavyweight. Obviously, I'm a foot of power. I'm a foot of that size difference, you know, compared to my other fights. So I just think that he got to go in there and just be himself. And I said, if he loses, you know, we'll just all know that, hey, you know, he just jumped up 2 weight classes to be great. You know what I'm saying? It's not.